Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Chris, joined by my brothers Adam
Hello.
and Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room once more to talk about video games, with this week's episode celebrating the franchise of Mortal Kombat.
Wow.
To celebrate the recent release of the new movie, the rebooted Mortal Kombat franchise. Is it a reboot? Well, I suppose it's technically a reboot, isn't it? It's not a remake.
Well,
we haven't seen it yet.
It's another film within the franchise.
What if it's
an adaptation?
It's an adaptation. What if it's like a Star Trek scenario where the entire annihilation did happen, and this is
No. I'd say it probably is a reboot series.
Yeah,
It's definitely going to be about 7 of these.
Yeah, it could be. It could be if it goes well, I suppose. So at time of recording, we haven't actually seen the new movie yet. I know it's coming out different dates, different places. So in some places it's out, and some people have seen it, and other places it's not out yet. And then at time, so not everyone would have seen the movie yet. And at time of recording, we haven't seen it. So we're not here to talk about the movie, but we just thought to coincide with the release that we would actually discuss the franchise. It's not a franchise we've talked about quite a lot on this series yet, but we are familiar with Mortal Kombat as a franchise, and it's had a long-running history in gaming, so we decided we're going to talk about it. In this episode, we're going to talk about our introduction to it, our personal favorite Mortal Kombat games of the ones we've played, and maybe also our favorite Mortal Kombat characters, whether either to use or just because we like their design or their lore or whatever. But if you are also a Mortal Kombat fan and you'd like to join in a discussion, you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to jump down into the comments and also let us know your introduction to Mortal Kombat, your favorite Mortal Kombat game, and how you're feeling about the new movie. Don't tell us if you've seen it. Don't tell us what happens or anything like that if you jump into the comments, but do just let us know if you're excited about it or if you have seen it, did you like it? That kind of thing. If you enjoyed this, you can also give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell. And if you listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to let us know all your favorite Mortal Kombat games, characters, etc., etc. So, without further ado, let's talk Mortal Kombat. It's hard not to think of that theme tune, isn't it?
It better be in it, you know?
Let's start there. I want to ask that. Do you think the theme tune is going to be in this film?
I hope so. Fucking teasing it.
I'd say that there is going to be a variation of it. Considering in the trailer they teased this, it has become the theme tune of Mortal Kombat. They even used it for the Mortal Kombat 11 trailer.
See, now that's why okay. So if it was up to me, it would absolutely be in this new film that we haven't seen yet,
and it would be in all the games.
And it would make sense to me that it would be in it. And I think there will be a variation of it. I think it'd be mad not to. But there is a part of me that goes, yeah, they have used it for just marketing before. And like, why was it not in the game? There's hardly like a rights thing, is there?
I'd imagine. I don't think the creators. I could be wrong, but I thought the creators weren't so mad on the original films, and that they wanted to distance themselves from it.
I get that with one of them.
Yeah, so I possibly that's why they don't use it in the game.
Yeah.
I hope if they do use it in the film, it's not going to be something like, I don't know, someone's phone goes off and it's just a fucking ringtone or some shit. Like, that would be such a shit use of it.
I would reckon the best place they could use it is either like a variation for a fight scene or just for the end credits. Kind of like using the Iron Man song for the end of Iron Man. Like they just use it for the credits. At the end on
Ah
a
man,
high
though,
pump note.
do you not imagine like how hyped would you be though if it's the final fight and you hear that first, the boom, the bell and the breathing and the choose your destiny and like it's starting to build up. And you're just like, fuck yeah, man! Like
I
I
mean,
would
throughout that
lose my
first film,
shit.
there's not a single moment where when that comes in that you're not like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, let's go, man. Techno, let's do it. Yeah, yeah. What was your introduction or your earliest memory of Mortal Kombat, the franchise?
Who you asking?
I mean,
Any one of
sooner
us.
or later, it's both.
It's gonna
of
be both of us.
So whoever wants to jump in first, or whoever can remember.
I don't really remember when my first introduction, as in my first like knowledge of the characters, came to be. I think the first like property I got introduced to was Mortal Kombat Deception. And
All
then
right.
I think we watched the film afterwards.
Okay.
Or it was the other way around. One or the other. I
Well,
just remember
for me, it was the movie.
Okay. I just remember going into either one of these products knowing Scorpion and knowing Sub-Zero. Like straight off the bat.
Film out?
This film was out in 95, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
5.
I think so. I could be wrong.
That would be.
Many years ago.
Well, I'm just thinking about like because there was CGI in it. Yeah, maybe you're right.
And it was one of the finer, well, still to this day is one of the finer video game movies.
Oh yeah.
By like easily. It is one of the finer video game movies. And I actually think, I don't know, maybe the trailer is just a really good trailer, but I think this new one could be pretty good. Some of it looks pretty good. It looks good. You know.
The director.
Hey, you're right. 1995. Yeah.
95. Yeah.
The director knows, kind of sounds like he knows what he's done the research for it. Like when he was talking about the introduction of Cole Young, and he was talking about how Mortal Kombat always introduces these new characters, and he showed screenshots of these characters. I was like, who the fuck are they? Like, okay, this guy did some serious research to really back up his point of introducing this new character to explore the world. Like, so the guy kind of, he seems to know what he's talking about. So I just hope he does really good job with it. It looks great.
Yeah, it looks cool. I love that trailer. Yeah, I imagine you probably watched the movie first, Eric, before playing Deception.
Probably, but I always knew. I don't know. It just seems like one of those things where like you know who Darth Vader is before you even watch Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. It's like you're just aware of Mortal Kombat even before you touch any of it.
Yeah, so I just knew like Scorpion, so like in Sub-Zero, and I always in the film wished that they were in it more.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's one weird thing about the 95 film. I know in a way it's like, okay, well, how much of the plot do you need to juggle? Like, are they as important to the overall plot? Like their rivalry, and fuck it, let's just make them two buddying assassins or whatever. But yeah, like everyone loves the Scorpion Sub-Zero rivalry, right? It's fucking badass.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering when did that like. I can't quite recall when actual storyline and character interactions came into the game series. I'm wondering whether that was established by 95, because that's why I was pretty shocked when you said 95, because the game only came out 92.
The original game, to my knowledge, now, and I am by no means a Mortal Kombat expert or anything like that. I consider myself a fan of the series and a fan of the characters. Played a few of the games. I'm shockingly terrible at them. So if anyone online ever wants to, play me online to feel good about themselves, feel free. We'll touch base or something. Let me know, and you can kick my ass. I'm terrible. I just cannot remember any of the combinations of any of the characters. But I've played a few of them, and I do enjoy them. And I'm pretty sure the first game had that storyline. Now, I don't know if all the characters had their own deep, rich lore until maybe later. But Mortal Kombat 1 was always about the tournament to protect Earthrealm from Outworld, and that this was the final tournament, and Shang Tsung was the sorcerer of Outworld, and you know what I mean? There was always that story. So the first movie was actually pretty close. Like, it's pretty close to the overall storyline. I'm not sure when the Scorpion Sub-Zero rivalry came into it. That's
what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know when that
came. Yeah, like the rest of it is fine, but I'm just wondering when that comes into it.
Yeah.
Because really, it's just like your couple of characters are fighting, and the storyline is just text. Isn't it?
Right.
Wasn't
Originally,
there?
I imagine so.
Wasn't there a game years ago where like it did really badly, but it used live action cutscenes for the story, and I think that one might have explored the rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero because it had Quan Chi
I know what you
Shinnok
mean.
in
I
it and
don't know if
everything.
it was a game, but I think it could have
It
been
was
like
a
a
game.
small movie, wasn't it?
No, it was a game. I think it was called. It was Sub-Zero. You played as Sub-Zero. And it was sort of like a side scroller thing as Sub-Zero. And all the videos were live actors. And Quan Chi was one of the main characters in it, and Shinnok, and yes, I think it was that you played as the younger Sub-Zero though. I think it was the next Sub-Zero, not Bihan.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like
The
the
guy
stuff.
who's
I'm
about
not
to
an expert. Well,
become Sub-Zero, or that he is Sub-Zero at that point.
So he is Sub-Zero at that point, and he's trying to avenge the death of his brother at the hands of Scorpion. I think that's what it was about.
Which is kind of what they did with the second movie.
Yeah, but they made it out that now they're rivals, and it's like, yeah, you killed my brother, and I was like, wait, what? I thought they were like best buddies in the last one.
You also did
Anyway.
not kill your brother. Liu Kang did in that film.
Yeah, this is what's going on in this. There's a whole history behind Annihilation and how it came about, and it is just it's fucking bonkers. But anyway, yeah, for me it was the '95 film was my first introduction to Mortal Kombat, and actually, my friend Danny was talking to me about it in the schoolyard, in primary school, and I thought it was. He was just like, "Have you ever seen this movie Mortal Kombat? It's class. There's all like immortals and warlocks and shit." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And then I think, if I remember correctly, the videotape was borrowed by a friend. Like, I think Adam, you borrowed it from a friend, and I'm not so. I don't know which friend it was, but I think it was that and Annihilation got borrowed. But anyway, because I remember watching it on videotape.
Yeah, it was VHS, yeah.
And I had no idea that it was a game. So I'll start off there. I thought it was like Big Trouble in Little China. I thought it was just this wacky, cool. I was like, this is great. Fucking warlocks and shit. Awesome. Fuck yeah. And I loved Big Trouble in Little China. Turns out that's one of the big influences on Mortal Kombat, actually. It's not the only one, but it's one of the. It's like the guys that come down with the storm powers and the hats.
Yeah.
That's where Raiden came from. And the evil warlock guy from Big Trouble in Little China, the main villain, that's where Shang Tsung came from. So, there's DNA in there, but there's loads of other movies, obviously, they drew from in terms of influence. So that's all I thought Mortal Kombat was. I thought it was just this cool, wacky, crazy film. And then found out there was a whole video game franchise. And the first game I ever played was Deception, which was the first one that we had in our household.
Mm-hmm.
I was aware of Deadly Alliance. I'd seen trailers and all to that, and I'd seen the cover art to that, which I always thought was cool, but I'd never played that one. Deception was the first one that I played. Adam, what was your introduction to Mortal Kombat? Was it a film?
No, like the movie that I remember borrowing the VHS that you're talking about. We got the two of them.
He's like, I don't want to name the friend because I don't know if I ever gave them back.
I don't think it would matter now at this point.
At this point, it's probably available for like €2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whip out a VHS and a CRT. How the hell are you gonna watch it? But that was when I borrowed them. That was around the time that I bought Deception.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. But I actually seen the film on TV like years before that, many years before that. So that would have been around when Deception came out. When was that? When I borrowed those
2000s, was it?
movies. But I definitely played the games before that before watching the movie. But I can't remember which ones they were or where or how I played them. I can't remember whether it was in an arcade or if it was at some mate's house on an older console of some sort. I don't know, and I didn't play much of it. It was just like, okay,
yeah, have a go at a fighter.
Yeah, and just get the ass kicked out of me. Like I do remember there being like a joystick and tapping buttons, but I can't recall whether that was just the controller that he had or we were in an arcade. Can't remember. But that's my memory of it. I always really liked the aesthetics of Mortal Kombat, and I kind of dislike that it went in a, you know, 3D character model. I always really liked the silly aesthetics of the, like, they're pretty much just photographs of people, and they just take photographs in different poses.
Yeah.
And then when you punch, it plays that photograph essentially. I just thought that was a really funny aesthetic to Mortal Kombat that you didn't really see in any other game.
Yeah, it was funny and it had its place and it was, you know, iconic. I don't know if that would be cool now though. It really would.
I think it would.
I don't know if it would. I think that it would have been outlived by other games if they continued down that path. I don't know.
I think if they did a small little Mortal Kombat game like that now, as sort of almost like an indie style game, people would love it because it'd be indie, it'd be new, it'd be fresh. You know, going back to the old roots. I think it'd be well received now. If they kept with it, no, I don't think it would work. Because
I don't think so.
I just think in the last episode we talked about graphics and how people want to always have better.
Yeah.
I just find that the aesthetics of Mortal Kombat, like if you look at it today, it has no DNA whatsoever with its past self.
Okay.
So I find, not that I didn't like I mean, Deception I thought was, like, Deadly Alliance of Deception had such a cool look to it. But even then, it was, I don't know, there's something kind of fantasy about it, whereas now it kind of has a, there's almost a BDSM look to the whole fucking thing, the way costumes are. They don't quite have the same. It's a little bit more gothic now than it is fantasy.
Yeah. I like a lot of the new costumes and designs and stuff. I think I was playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 11 recently, and I was playing the expansion Aftermath, which is great. It's great. If you're into Mortal Kombat, it's fucking great. But the I don't know. As I was playing it, I was thinking it's kind of more now. It's like. And maybe it's fighting games in general are kind of like comic books within the video game world, in that they've got large cast or roster of characters. Any one of them could be the main character of like their own storyline, and you could go read into them a bit. You know, they're kind of comic booky. I feel there's a real and in Mortal Kombat's case, there could be a slight influence on that in terms of the fact that NetherRealm have made the Injustice games, and they've worked with DC in terms of making comic books and stuff, and maybe now that style of writing has kind of influenced them in that, okay, let's, you know, approach this like comic book writers and write all these different threads and stuff, because the stories have become way more in depth than they ever were in that original first arcade game, right, where it was just, there's a scroll of text, cool, what does this guy do? And it's like, oh look, there's different skins for the ninja. And then later on they went, well, actually now the ninja's a reptile and can go invisible and stuff. And you're like, cool, fuck yeah. You know, but originally it was just like, I don't know.
I do like that
there was a couple of characters originally where I think it was like a glitch is the reason there was this extra colored ninja. And that's actually where some of the characters came from.
Was that Rain?
Yeah, I know. It was Ermac was the glitch, I think. Rain was inspired off the song Purple Rain.
That's right.
Okay.
That's why he's purple, yeah.
Well, I know Noob's name obviously came from Tobias and Boone.
Yeah.
Just spelled backwards.
Yeah. He's
the original Sub-Zero.
He is.
He is the original Sub-Zero, yeah.
Yeah, which makes, I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking about the possibilities of a sequel for this movie that's coming out, and I'm like, wow, that Sub-Zero could have an awesome.
Yeah, he could.
Arc, right?
Yeah, and it really kind of does show why. I mean, slightly getting the spoilers here, I suppose, if you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, why Scorpion would be so kind of, yes, this man definitely killed my family. Because in the trailer, he is brutal as fuck. Like,
fucking awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, really cool. I was never much of a... Actually, because I feel like the first thing you do with any Mortal Kombat game, or like, they often are the cover. Scorpion and Sub-Zero, right? Yeah. There's plenty of other characters, but... where like I feel a lot of people were like team one or team the other growing up. Like I even know people who were like, oh, I was always Sub-Zero, and I'm like, what? I was always Scorpion. What about you guys?
Scorpion.
I mean, I was living in the house with you guys. So I don't think I had a choice. I was Scorpion.
I mean, it's hard not to like. Scorpion's just so cool, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's his catchphrase is like the catchphrase of the series.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So
It is a
I mean, he's the poster child of Mortal Kombat, and surprisingly, I don't know. Maybe he's just like the Paul Phoenix of the series. That he doesn't play well though.
Scorpion?
I find, yeah, he's difficult to master. I find, but I think there are other characters that are way more powerful than him.
See,
Like,
I always
choosing Scorpion
Yeah.
is probably a bad move. I think.
I always found Scorpion was okay to use.
Mm.
But
I think
that's
Sub-Zero is more powerful.
I found Sub-Zero was harder to use.
Oh, really?
Right? I found him too slow or something. But when someone else was using him, they were able to fuck me up.
Yeah, I always found I always prefer playing a Scorpion because he is so cool.
Yeah, he is
But
awesome.
I do find a Sub-Zero, I played better with him.
Maybe you're a Sub-Zero, really, and you're just in denial.
I'm just, yeah.
You're like, I
you
want to
do
be
whoever I
that
wanna be.
guy.
You're a Scorpion,
I'm
but
Scorpion.
you
Yeah.
Is he
identify.
the what's his clan?
You're
again?
Sub-Zero, but you identify as Scorpions. But
Scorpion is from the Shirai Ryu.
Shirayu.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm
The whole
that.
thing
I'm
is cool.
that. I remember
I
when
wanna be
I was like trying to get Deception. I was definitely way underage.
Yeah, it took a lot of
Oh, yeah.
convincing, I believe.
Well, I actually just got like the mate that I got the Mortal Kombat films off of. We were
So
just
he
having
does
like
know
this-
who it is.
Oh, I know who it is. Yeah.
I know who it is as well.
Well, like we had a big kind of like we just got we went like really big into Mortal Kombat, and I remember getting I think there was back when we could rent games, and I think he got an Xbox quite recently, so we were just looking for games to go play on it, and we went down to rent Deadly Alliance and play it on this Xbox. And it was just so fucking badass. It was so cool. And I was like, I have to get this. Like this is when we got like really big into it then, and we watched the films back to back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to get this. And then we searched everywhere for Deadly Alliance to purchase it, and you just couldn't. It was nowhere. We just couldn't buy the thing. So what was available was Deception, which just came out the same year that we got into Mortal Kombat. And I was somewhat disappointed because I really wanted Deadly Alliance. Now, it was his mom who ended up buying Deception, 2 copies, 1 each. Like, we just gave her we gave her the money. She went in and get it first because like there's no way they were going to sell it to us.
Yeah, of course.
Still in school, like. So then both of us are like playing Deception essentially at the same time, like learning things and sharing it and stuff like that, especially with the Conquest mode. And it was amazing. I'm so glad now that was the version that we had to get, or that we ended up getting.
Yeah, because even actually in terms of longevity, like I haven't played Deadly Alliance, and I remember also being really excited by that. I remember I used to love looking through gaming magazines, and I remember the pictures of Deadly Alliance just looked amazing. And it was the first time Scorpion and like Sub-Zero had been redesigned in such a cool way.
I think that's
And
Scorpion's
Shang Tsung
best
and everything.
look.
Yeah,
Personally,
like it's
is Deadly
fucking
Alliance.
awesome.
Yeah.
And but from what I've heard, it's actually not as good as Deception in terms of longevity. I've heard Deception is, ranked higher than Deadly Alliance in general.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about Deception actually, since we're on it and you've kind of introduced. Eric, you're definitely too young to be playing Deception.
Well, you see, you say that, but if you actually think back at it, was it really that violent?
No, I don't think it was. It was fine.
There's
Like,
nothing
it was
wrong. Like there really
was
wasn't
cartoony.
anything wrong with Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
like
games.
everything was so over dramatic. Like we always made jokes about like, yes, when you were hitting the characters or the opponent you're fighting, that they did start to bleed. But like we used
As
to
soon
joke
as
that
it's
it looked
happened.
like but we joked about how it looked like tomato sauce. Like it was big droplets like
It was
coming off.
chunky.
Yeah.
It was chunky.
Yeah, it looked ridiculous.
But
But
I remember playing as there was one of the characters, and one of their stances was they like poked, and when they poked someone, blood came out, and I was always like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You poke someone, they're fucking pouring blood like.
I think I remember yeah, it was the snake stance. It was,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
I
I
can't- which
can't remember the
character
guy's name though.
It wasn't. I think I remember that stance was one of Scorpion's in Deadly Alliance, but I don't think he had it in Deception. I think he could have been someone else.
No, it was Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Yeah.
Shang Tsung
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Deception
Shang Tsung.
had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because you were able to fight. Because in Conquest mode, you were able to fight different characters
Yeah.
that weren't actually within the roster. I think Shang Tsung wasn't in the roster, but you were able to fight him in the Netherrealm when you traveled there.
Oh
You
yeah. That conquest was so cool.
Like I don't understand how that's not a full game. Like how have they not remade that?
Yeah.
They might be building up to it. I remember that made me that game. I loved Onaga.
Yeah, Onaga was cool.
So Onaga for me is like Unicron in like in the realm of Transformers. You do a movie, you're not going to do Unicron, but I just can't wait for them to do Unicron. And then they did Unicron. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I see now why they didn't do Unicron.
Why did they do that? So I can't wait for them, yes, to reintroduce Onaga. Oh, God.
The thing is about Onaga is his backstory is way cooler than he looks.
Yeah, but he always reminded me, you see, of like, I was when I was younger, I was more of a Tekken fan than I was a Mortal Kombat fan. And Onaga reminded me quite a lot of like True Ogre. Or even just like Ogre and True Ogre in a blender. It's like if you take Ogre and give him the wings and the tail just.
Yeah.
So, and I always thought that was so cool. So I thought Onaga was badass. I thought he was wicked.
I mean, they definitely, there's room for slight redesign of him.
Yeah, sure.
Bring it, because I think he's mentioned in the new rebooted trilogy series of Mortal Kombat. I think they did mention Onaga or something like that. So they might end up bringing him into it, which means if they bring him back, the movies might end up introducing him at some point as well. They obviously have to get through Shao Kahn first because he's the Megatron of it.
Yeah. I think Onaga should be the villain of the next Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah,
I think that would be great. I think it would be so cool. We'll see what happens.
Also, that game Deception taught me what deception meant.
Only I can defeat this threat, born of deception. Yeah, shoot, Jinko.
That's such an amazing intro.
Yeah,
the
fantastic.
Intro to that game is
what
incredible.
made me love Onaga.
But even the fight sequence.
Yeah, like the tree, between
Raiden and
fighting the Deadly Alliance, and then a new alliance was formed, and all three of them are doing their fucking powers against
badass.
Onaga. It's so cool.
I think that's that moment there, you see, is probably like I didn't need to play Deadly Alliance then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you kind of get the conclusion of Deadly Alliance there, and you're aware that okay, everyone's dead. My one issue with Deception, I've always had it. No, Liu Kang is in it. He's a zombie in it, whatever. It's not that. It's that there was a huge cast of characters not in it. It was lots of new characters
That's how
that
I felt with it, yeah.
weren't very good. Which was one of the things that I really enjoyed about Mortal Kombat 9, or the rebooted Mortal Kombat when that first came, and it was like, here's literally the classic lineup of characters back, and it was like,
But there's a
fuck
couple
yeah.
of new guys in there, isn't there?
I don't think so. I think everyone in that game.
In Mortal Kombat 9, no, they're all originals.
No one's new in that.
All right, am I taking
It was characters all from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Who's the wasp-looking lady?
No, she's in.
Oh no, that's Mortal Kombat 10.
10.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
that's
new.
10.
There's new characters in 10.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you know what? She's a cool addition. I like her.
I
like her.
I think she has actually in story concept probably one of the highest kill rates.
Yeah, she kills loads of people. I don't know though. Sindel
Oh, sorry, Sindel.
in MK9.
Well, like I said, she has one
everyone.
up. It's probably the Deadly Alliance, then Sindel, and then Devora.
I don't know if the Deadly Alliance kill as many people as Sindel does.
They kind of kill every hero.
They
That's
kill
why
Liu Kang and Johnny Cage, don't they? Who else do they kill?
Don't they kill? Aren't they responsible for the death of everyone? Which is why Raiden has to stand against them alone.
Not everyone in the universe, though.
No, it's just I think it's just Earth's heroes.
Sorry, if we're counting the universe, Kronika would have the highest kill rate.
Yeah.
Adam doesn't know. Adam's there like, God, these guys are such fucking.
What the fuck are you talking about, you nerds?
I understood the Deadly Lines.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. And actually, Deception introduced me to Quan Chi, who's one of my favorite Mortal Kombat villains. I think he's so he looks awesome, and he also he's the Shang Tsung of the Netherrealm, isn't he? He's sort of the advisor sorcerer in the Netherrealm, who's also quite treacherous and deceptive and everything. I fucking love that. What's your favorite Mortal Kombat game that you've played? I think for Adam, it's going to be pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played many. Like, I mean, Deception's the only one I actually played the whole way through, including Conquest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't remember the first one, what it was that I played. I don't know whether it was MK1 or 2. I'm not really sure. Then I've played a little bit of 9.
Yeah.
And I've played a little bit of 10. Now, I've played more of 9 than I did 10.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I don't know. There's something about it just lost its magic a bit. I think it needs to be more brutal. Like, way more brutal. Like, whatever shocked you back then, this needs to shock you even more now. You know the way, like, when you play Doom? When you play Doom now, you're like, oh, I don't quite get that. I got it with the X-ray in 9. And then afterwards, it becomes a novelty. It lost its brutality a bit. Which is another thing.
I get what you're saying. I got that in 9 with the X-rays, definitely. And yes, once you've seen everyone's X-ray, it is gone. But I think that's the same thing as, like, if you play the original. Once you've seen everyone's fatality, it's also gone. Like, they don't have... Yeah. You know what I mean?
But it's very hard to get a fatality.
Yes.
Not hard to get an X-ray.
No. But you have the X-rays and fatalities. You know what I mean? There's extra stuff. In X, I didn't get it at all. And actually, of the Mortal Kombat games I've played, that one's probably my least favorite. I didn't enjoy it as much as the rest of the world seemed to enjoy it. I don't know. In 11, I have gotten it. Actually, there's been a few times where I go ho, like that when something happens, and I'm like, that's fucking sick. I think they're called critical strikes now instead of X-rays. They've changed it.
Yeah.
So as opposed to you building up an X-ray meter, kind of like in an RPG. What happens is if you're nearly dead, you now have an opportunity to kind of turn the tides, which makes it that if you're fighting someone, like if it's 2-player or whatever, you're playing player versus player, it's like you're both like fuck. At any point he could, like, I'm going to get him down, but he could fuck me over if he lands that critical strike, and if I don't block it at the right time or whatever. And it's a pretty cool move. It's not X-ray, but it's pretty vicious.
They implemented X-rays into your attacks, so sometimes you might do an attack and then it will randomly be an X-ray shot of it. That would make X-rays more of a surprise thing.
Yeah. So in that, I much preferred 11 to 10.
I think the story for 11 is better as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So for me, it's definitely going to be Deception. It just had, because even with the gore. It was ridiculous, but I felt like the cool moments was when you hit people through environments into different areas of the arena, and just trying to achieve that is really, really satisfying and cool. And I haven't quite got that from any other Mortal Kombat game.
I always loved as well the stage fatalities. Like there's that one arena where it's collapsing as you fight. And so there's a real, like, against the clock. And, like, even if you're winning, you could die by stepping on the wrong spot and falling onto the spikes at the bottom, and it'll just be impaled and just blood everywhere.
Been, like, I love that. There since the original Mortal Kombat, where the arena is dangerous. The environment that you're playing in is hazardous. I don't know, is that in the new ones?
I think
hazardous environment?
I don't know. I haven't really experienced it. Apparently, stage fatalities have been brought into MK11.
Yeah, I've been trying to do them, and I've only ever done it once, a stage fatality once.
Because I remember the section there being like a big buzzsaw in one area as well, and you could like fuck someone into it, and that's it, they're gone.
Yeah, no, so that stuff isn't in it.
There's plenty of game modes and little things that, like, there's gameplay in Deception that I wish was brought back or brought forward. There's loads of stuff. Chess combat. I fucking loved chess combat. Do you remember that? That was
I do, but I wasn't really mad on it.
What?
Like for me, just Conquest was the that was the reason to buy the game.
Conquest was amazing. I know it was, but like you have all those extra modes too. What a great way to do like a team combat thing where you assign certain characters as like, all right, I'm good at Baraka, so I'm gonna make him all of my pawns or whatever like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
surefire way to win. Baraka is awesome.
As you move closer, and then you have to enter a combat scenario to take the character. I thought that was amazing. I don't know why that's not back. Yeah, what's wrong with Mortal Kombat nowadays? No chess combat. That's what's wrong with it. That's the problem. I don't know. Am I the only one that thought chess combat was amazing?
Oh no, I used to always make Baraka I always made Baraka the pawn as well, based on the fact that there was
the Tarkatans.
Yeah, there was loads of Tarkatans. So I was like, oh well, obviously I'm gonna make all of them.
Yeah.
I always found that like a really scary concept. Like Baraka is one of the coolest characters in Mortal Kombat, I think. Like he's pretty somewhat cool. Like if you look at him, you kind of think, I mean, he just looks like a passable monster character. But then you see how brutal he is, and some of the stuff he can do, move sets and fatalities and stuff. And then the imagery artwork where you see that he is just one of a giant race of warriors. Like imagine a whole legion of them invading Earthrealm. That would be terrifying.
You don't have to. It's at the end of Mortal Kombat 9.
Very good.
Outworld invades it. And then I think they deal with the politics of Outworld in Mortal Kombat 11 a little bit more, which is really cool.
Yeah. Eric, what's your favorite Mortal Kombat game of the games you've played?
I would probably like you to put Mortal Kombat 10 down at the because I've only played Deception, Deception 9, 10, and 11 really. They're probably the only ones played. So I probably would put 10 at the kind of bottom. I think it had a very weak roster of characters, and then a very okay storyline. But I'd probably put 9 as my favorite because it's 1, 2, and 3 collectively the largest roster of characters. And the way they did it, very much like when J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek, but it was also continuing Star Trek. The way they did it was really cool as well. So yeah, probably that one.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. And I'm torn between 9 and Deception because I think 9 has a better roster. And I do think that matters because in a fighting game, I think some of the big appeal is the characters. Mm-hmm. And I do think that half the characters in Deception were piss poor, to tell the truth. Like, there's a reason they haven't been brought back other than Armageddon. And in Armageddon, they were brought back by default because that was the game that included every character up to that point. Right? Mm-hmm. And it actually hasn't been reviewed well because there's too many characters that there's not enough variation between the characters. Like there's too many of them to actually make unique. So I think 9 has better roster, and I do really like the way. I mean, that was the first time the story mode had been done in that way. Yes, if you play MK11 now, that way of telling the story is not unique anymore because they've done it in 3 Mortal Kombat games and 2 Injustice games, right? But MK9 was the first time that had been done. And if you try to get a story mode out of a Tekken game or a Street Fighter game or even a previous Mortal Kombat game, like other than Conquest, it was really hard to piece together what's the actual story because you used to play these arcade towers, everyone wins, and at the end it tells you what they did when they won. But it was like if they won. And it was only when you played the next game when you found out what was actually canon. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if you'd played Deadly Alliance, they would say, oh, when such and such bet the Deadly Alliance. But then you find out when you played Deception that nobody bet the Deadly Alliance and it was just Raiden there at the end, right? You see, you only find out really the canon afterwards. So, in 9, the way they told the story, I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, it's really cinematic. Each chapter you play as a different character, so everyone has a chance to shine. But there is still, like, a main plot with Raiden and Liu Kang and stuff, and you've got your main roster. However, the gameplay modes and stuff in Deception, I much preferred. Like, I loved changing 3 stances in a fight. I don't know why that's gone.
Always boggles
my
mind why they got rid of that.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was almost like the Tekken tag thing.
Yeah.
Only you're the one character, and so go switch into weapons as well.
For me, changing stances was weird. Making it back to the 2D, I was like, that's fine for 9 because they're almost staying true to the first 3 games.
Okay,
But now I'm a bit like, come on, we're fighting in the middle of a street. You know, you defeat someone, and then by story mechanic, the next essentially person you have to fight comes around, and then you're back in the same street, and all the
and it gets old.
It
gets old.
Like, you can make this 3D and make it way more interesting, and then the kicking someone like through the wall, or like they always had like weapons as well that you were able to pick up, so you could pick up like a big warhammer and start like some really cool shit. So it's fair. It is a bit. I wish they would go back for the next one to that 3D environment and stuff. That very.
Well, I know. Yeah, in the last episode we discussed graphics. I think Mortal Kombat is a really, really good discussion around, how graphics should be perceived. It's like there's not, as far as I can see from Mortal Kombat, there's not a whole lot in it that they couldn't be offering better visuals.
Right.
Because I find the visuals are quite lacking, and we did establish that graphics do matter in making the game much more immersive.
Mm-hmm.
But I find the gameplay lately is lacking too. So, and the way the story is being told, like even I was playing a bit of 10, and it's quite choppy. As the cutscenes are running. I found that with Injustice as well, though. So I don't know if that's just. I think it could be a game engine thing,
right,
where it's very, very choppy. The frame rate is going down, and it runs okay once you get into the actual gameplay. And generally, the gameplay looks better than the cutscenes, visually.
Yeah.
The graphics do, but they're still like, why aren't these like the best graphics ever? You're only focusing on 2 people. I imagine like, with sports games, for example, or car racing games. They are able to look amazing because they're only focusing on a certain amount of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's how they could get the visceral feeling back. Could you imagine if they looked real?
Yeah, well, like, do you remember
and you
those
were punching the shit out of each other, and it's like bits of you coming off? Like, that would be brutal.
Do you remember those, like, I don't know, was it UFC or MMA kind of fighting games where, like, you can see the sweat droplets on the characters, and they do look incredibly realistic.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, these are incredible graphics. But yes, they don't have much else to focus on. They're not trying to build like a fully rendered world or anything like that. They literally just have to focus on the 2 characters in the arena. And even the people outside the arena don't have to look great because their background noise, they don't really matter. So they just put all their attention on the actual, what's in focus. And I think that's a fair criticism. Like they could look. I think MK11 looks really good. I have to be honest. I think it looks really good. The UI bothers me a little bit. They've taken up some of the screen with these little yellow kind of RPG bars that I'm not really into, and I'm like, it kind of, I don't know. The less I can see of that, the better, because I'm trying to focus. I don't want little distractors on the screen. I just want.
Yeah. Do you know the game? What was the game that was Eric's real hyped for? It's like the Kung Fu looking game.
Sifu.
Right.
Sifu, right?
Why isn't Mortal Kombat just like essentially that? At this point?
Yeah, I watched a video talking more about the story of that. I am slightly even more hyped. I was like, that's gonna be really fun.
But that looks like a good evolution of a fighting genre.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be, moving around in that type of environment, but even the way that character is moving. Like, I even find that Mortal Kombat the characters don't move realistically. And I think at this point, this should start moving more realistically. And the hits should feel like, oh my god, that was such a strong punch or a strong kick.
Yeah.
It's in a weird realm where it's like half cartoon, half real, and it's not committing to either. And like the original Mortal Kombat, the way it was 2D, kind of cartoony. That's why I was saying, like, I wouldn't mind seeing some of that because it's almost in that territory already.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely not going for realistic. And I don't think it ever will.
I think
I don't think it's going for that.
Much like Street Fighter, why not embrace the cartoon?
Right, yeah, go more artsy with it.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Because I don't see how the current graphics is necessarily offering anything, really.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But
I
we
think it
can all
looks good.
establish that
Fair, yeah.
Scorpion,
Satan's
It's
graphics
finest-
are pretty cool.
Scorpion's finest look was Deadly Lines. That's all.
That's the end of it, really, guys. That's all we have to. No, I'm joking. I didn't really. Do I have to pick?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Deception as a better game because of its gameplay. Because I think you can get the best part of MK9 by watching the compiled YouTube videos, but you can't get that in MK Deception. You have to play it, or it's you can watch someone play through Conquest, but that's not as fun. You actually have to play the modes in Deception. So as a game, I think Deception is a better game, but I do think MK9 had a better character roster, and I love the X-rays. I remember when that first came out, that blew my mind. I was really into that. I thought that was so cool. So yeah, that's favorite game. What about
Conquest kind of reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus in many ways. It's like
a bit like that?
if you know the end, it's not great. If
Mm.
you watch someone play it, it's not great. You really have to play it. Very mediocre gameplay, but it's that hit at the end where you go,
Yeah.
"Oh no,
Yeah.
what have I done?"
Yeah, it's cool that the Conquest mode, like just in terms of building a game, it's cool that that's a prequel to any
All
of
of them,
the.
Isn't
No,
it?
but well, it's a prequel to if you're fighting in the tower mode, and it
Yeah.
doesn't conflict with that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
but
mean?
I think it's even a prequel to some degree. All the Mortal Kombats.
Well, I suppose the character of Shujinko has been growing up sort of alongside the Mortal Kombat franchise. Yeah, and at some point he is older than.
Yeah, because some of the characters touch on some of the, I suppose, struggles they're having, which kind of correlate with each Mortal Kombat up to that point.
But that was one of the things I kind of liked about MK9's story was because of the time travel thing.
Mm.
It was like, let's take you on a little trip back down memory lane. And, if you've never played a Mortal Kombat game, this is a great place to start. If you have played a Mortal Kombat game, you're going to get some serious nostalgia. You know what I mean? It was a good
And
way.
how are you going? What's the best way to play Mortal Kombat 9 now?
Oh, I think, I mean, I suppose it depends on what console you're on. In terms of PlayStation, I think it's available on PS Now, if you're subscribed to that.
So it was
But
a
it's-
PS3 game.
Oh, it was a PS3 game.
Yeah.
Right. So Xbox is the best place to play it then.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, actually, yeah. It would definitely be available on Game Pass. And it'll probably be like every fighting game nowadays where they release one and actually you should probably wait a year to buy the one that actually has all the characters in it. It's probably that version is probably out there with more characters, which is pretty cool. What's your favorite? Obviously, we're all Scorpion guys, so I'm outside of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Who is your favorite Mortal Kombat character for whatever reason you like them?
There's a lot of great characters.
Oh, I mean, they have a fantastic roster.
Not necessarily. No, I don't really know much about like their backstories and stuff like that, but like just in terms of playing as them, I always really liked like a combination of they looked badass, they played well, and they had cool moves. Ken Chi was really fucking cool.
It's awesome.
He's pretty good.
I always quite like Baraka. He just surprised me. Like Baraka's like fucking this attack.
Yeah,
It's just
the
most
slashy
brutal.
thing. Yeah,
It's just the best way to get at people.
Start
And I quite liked. I always quite liked Cabal. Probably just because my first, with Deception being one of the first games that I like went fully into with Mortal Kombat. Yes, there was that problem as like I don't know who any of these people are. Right? There's like all these brand new characters,
Mhm.
but then once you got to play as them, I found a lot of them to be quite surprising, and Cabal being one of them.
Mhm. Yeah, I always thought Cabal was cool. Do you know what it is though? Is it's not that Deception has a terrible roster, but some of the characters in there, like what was your man Cobra? It's
yeah,
like,
it looks like
it's like I've got a generic fighter character's name, and I look like he just looked like a rip off of Ken from Street Fighter. He looked so out of place in a Mortal Kombat game, and there was a few characters like Darius, I think was another one.
That's it, Darius and Dario or something like that. Or was there?
Yeah,
There was like two characters that sounded very similar.
Darius was the guy on the the world of Sado. He was the
He
guard.
kind of looked like Wesley Snipes or something like that. Like he
Yeah.
had shades and everything, and he was all,
And then
you know,
Dario was
cool,
the
though.
guy with the
what would you
kind
call
of
it? Like a
traditional
ponytail?
yeah, he had the traditional kind of Chinese style kind of ponytail type thing. So it was only the back of his head had the hair with the long ponytail.
That Nightwolf was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, but Nightwolf's been there for a long. He's a long-running character.
He's an OG.
Yeah, at this point, he is cool. Like,
He is.
so yeah, some of the characters are
When
great.
was he introduced though? He wasn't in the first one.
MK3, I think,
Must be 3.
but I don't
It's
know.
really hard to try and think about, like, because I think Deception was the 6th game, and when you think about that, it's like I can only really remember 1 to 3, and then Deadly Alliance, and so there's
No,
a game
there's
missing in there.
1 to 4, I think there was. The fourth one was Shinnok. He was the villain. Then there was Deadly Alliance, and then there was Deception, right?
Okay.
The part,
so
the
that's
part where
just
I
four.
got lost is, or so that's the 6th one, and then there's Armageddon, right? Which would be maybe the 7th, and then there's Mortal Kombat 9. So I'm like, well, what was the 9th game?
Or the
Shaolin
8th game, you
Monks.
mean? Was it Shaolin Monks?
Oh, sorry, 8th and 9th. Oh, there's Shaolin Monks, but then
And as well,
That's-
someone might have been including, like, I don't know which one
That's all
counts
of them
as a
then,
side
isn't it?
game and which
Yeah.
one doesn't. But that Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero game, whatever that was called, like, that was a full game. And that's not numbered. I can't remember. I think it's called Mortal Kombat Mythologies or something, Sub-Zero. As if
Alright.
there was going to be lots of them, and it didn't
that's probably
do particularly well.
Yeah, I think that's the side one. I don't think that was really counted.
Well, it just is what, like, is that one counted as one, or is Shaolin Monks counted as one?
I think it could be the monks. Let's find out.
Let's
find
find
out.
out,
Oh,
everybody.
doing the research, guys.
Mortal Kombat
Um,
Media. Oh, we don't want Mortal Kombat Media. So we got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero, Mortal
Yes,
Kombat 4,
I win.
Mortal Kombat Special Forces, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Deception, Shaolin Monks, Armageddon, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. So this is actually just counting.
Oh,
No,
you
that's
know
just
what?
getting all the.
Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe is counted. Sorry, people count that one.
It is counted.
That's counted, yeah. I think
How is
that's
that?
technically 8.
What?
I think that one is technically Mortal Kombat 8.
No, no, I heard you. I'm just more confused at why people count it.
I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for people, but I've seen that one ranked on lists with the other Mortal Kombats more than Shaolin Monks or Special Forces or any of those ones.
Maybe just because it plays more similar to the.
I think that could be it. I think it's because of the way the game is laid out, very much as a fighting game.
I think the villain in that is Dark Khan. It's where
Darkseid
Darkseid
and Shao Kahn
Kahn.
form into one super being. That's the
And
final boss.
I think
Dark Khan.
Capcom versus Marvel did the same thing where they got 2 infamous villains and merged them together for one of them as well.
I think Capcom versus Marvel might have done it first. What do you think? They've definitely been doing the games longer.
Oh yeah, that one definitely was before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, can't seem to find a list that's like, yeah, this is the canon list.
Mm.
But it seems.
Well, the thing is,
So
Mortal Kombat 9, as we're referring to it, which was just
Yeah.
called Mortal Kombat, is only
Yeah.
called 9 when Mortal Kombat 10 came out. Then it was like, wait, which one's he?
no. People were calling it 9. I bet
Were they?
that Mortal Kombat 10 is only called 10 because people refer to the last one as 9.
Do you think so? Do you think it's the other way around?
I think
So-
Yeah, I think it was
but-
referred to 9 first.
But why did everyone else refer to it as 9 then? Where did they get that from?
that's the thing. It's obviously the 9th in the fucking.
The canon.
Canonical
so to
series.
speak. But you see, the thing is, 9 is based after Armageddon. So that
Yeah.
you would imagine
Make
anything that came between Armageddon and 9 is a side game and not canon.
Or just took place at a different time.
Possibly. In time and space. Where
Yeah.
nothing is anything. And I am on a podcast.
Yeah, not easy to find the official list.
Mm.
If anyone can let us know, that would be swell.
Some Mortal Kombat expert, get in touch. Let us know what's the official running order of MK. Eric, who's your favorite Mortal Kombat character outside of, Scorpion or Sub-Zero? Because those two are the two everyone talks about.
I mean, yeah. I mean, those two are mythological. They're awesome. I mean, I really like Onaga, but I can't really say much about like him as a character to actually like him. See, because I can only really work off of really 9, 10, and 11, and their depiction of the characters. Like, they've changed Sindel in this new series of Mortal Kombat. So they've changed her slightly, which is really cool. What they did was, what they've done with a lot of the new characters is pretty awesome. But I'd probably put Kenshi up there because it's like Keanu Reeves with a katana. It's awesome, isn't it?
It is very much. I think he is based on
Neo.
Keanu Reeves.
He is Neo because Neo gets blindfolded, doesn't he? At the end of the
very much
last
so.
Matrix film.
Yeah.
So Kenshi, because he's fucking awesome.
I always loved Noob. I think Noob is awesome. And I always loved Ermac, who I was first introduced to in Deception.
Yeah.
And he was in 9 and 10 as well. 11 is the only Mortal Kombat game I've played that he's not in.
So is he the glitch?
Yeah, I think he started off as a glitch that then became a character that then got his own abilities. And his abilities are awesome. And he looks awesome. And he's just a fucking cool character. That's just this amalgamation of souls as a fucking weapon. And he's so cool.
Yeah.
I love
And
Ermac.
he's in King Jaro's body, isn't he? He's in Katana's father's body. Garrett,
Yeah, which is cool. But that's like a twist in 9 or something, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
You find out that he's actually
Very twisty.
Oh, very super twisty. See, that's the
weird that
thing.
they never actually did a re-release then for PS4
Of 9?
Yeah, because it did put
It is a bit
Injustice,
weird.
didn't they?
Yeah, it is a bit weird that they didn't do like a remaster of that game. Because, like, let's be honest, it was very successful. It brought the series back to life.
Yeah.
When the series was essentially dead. Like,
Well,
Armageddon did not do well. People were not interested in the franchise. I was always kind of intrigued by Armageddon. I know a friend of mine had it. And
it's a good idea. The story's good.
In his mind, it was the best game ever. Because he was like, everyone's in it. You know, he was just looking at, look at this
Endgame,
huge
the
character
Mortal
roster.
Kombat.
Like, massive. But apparently there is a story mode that's kind of like the Conquest thing in Deception. But you play as these two characters that are very strange. They're very weird, like brothers. And there's like this weird plot. And it's bizarre, apparently. So it didn't go down well with people as sort of this is the finale of Mortal Kombat, which is what it was supposed to be at the time.
I'd say the movies are definitely, like, that's their plan, is to build up
To Armageddon.
Yeah, like, you know, big franchise, introduce characters the whole way through, and then you have a big finale where everyone comes back and it's just like the end of the world.
Yeah, but who'd be their Thanos then? You can't have Blaze to be their Thanos. Like, who the fuck is that guy?
Right. Yeah, I wonder, like, do you just prolong Shao Kahn? Or maybe Shinnok or something. I don't know.
Or
I mean, everyone
if
in
you're wanting
it
to kind of blend the two
is a bad
together,
guy.
you could have Kronika to be the Thanos of it that she was playing
You
everyone
could.
all along.
You could get there eventually.
And Adam is still like, I don't know who the fuck that person is.
She looks like Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much. They just basically go, wouldn't it be cool if we had a character based on that character from that movie we just watched?
Yeah.
That's how most, like, Liu Kang is fucking, well, there's an element of Bruce Lee in him anyway, with the nunchucks and the sounds he makes when he's kicking and everything. You know, he's an Enter the Dragon kind of character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah, no, most of their characters are based on some kind of movie character or something like that. I once heard Ed Boon say that Cabal was actually, because Cabal's like super fast, and he said before they ever got a chance to do DC, and apparently he'd been wanting that for a long time, Cabal was his attempt at having like a character like the Flash in a video game.
Oh.
He just loved the idea of, like, imagine how the Flash would play in a video game. And then it ended up, obviously they made changes and stuff, and it just became Cabal. But apparently that's where he came from. Oh, which I thought was kind of interesting. He's in the new movie.
Is he?
Yeah, I saw him on one of the posters, and I was like, oh my god, Cabal.
That's very
cool.
strange.
That's cool. I like.
Yeah, no, it's cool
But
enough,
the
but it's just strange. Like, I just assumed that with this film that they were wanting to just stick with obviously considered a brand new character in it.
Yeah. Is he?
I thought it was just gonna be like basically the first game.
No, yeah. It seems that they've. Well, like Kung Lao was in it. He was never in the first game. I think he was introduced in the second.
Yeah.
And Katana and Johnny Cage don't seem to be in it, or at least we don't know if they're in it. Maybe they are as a surprise. I don't know, but they don't seem to.
I think I've said this before. What again? The reaction. I gotta say, it's gonna be very weird if they don't have Katana to be the same actor who plays Melina.
Yeah, like Melina's in it. Yeah, it seems like Katana's not, which is strange.
Maybe not.
Yeah, because you just get the same actor.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe they're keeping secret, and they are gonna have Katana, as they are just gonna have the same actor, because that would make
Possibly.
sense.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, they should be the same actor, really.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that in Annihilation? Which I feel like we should talk about. I feel like you can't, like, it's like, yeah, like Mortal Kombat is awesome and all, but like, you have to
dress
film
that,
up at
yeah.
some point.
There's
But do
nothing.
you remember-
There's nothing. Like I think the most disappointing bit of that movie for me was the beginning. Was just turning it on. Was because the end of the first one is basically a giant vision of Shao Kahn saying that, you know, he's going to invade now, and we've got
Yeah,
our,
and you have, like, Raiden's
we've got our
Yes,
three
Bob.
heroes with Raiden just there doing the fucking poses about to take him on, and then it like the beginning of the second movie is that scene, and it's not Christopher Lambert, and you're like, and it's not even Johnny Cage. It's not the guy who played Johnny Cage. So there's two.
It's a
actors.
different Sonya as well.
And it's different. So they just changed the entire cast. They kill off Johnny because, you know, whatever. And this new Raiden character, I'm just like, I don't know who you are, man. I don't think my heroes should follow you. Who are you?
Yeah, but what about when he gets his haircut? He says, "Never give up hope." What the fuck? That film is awful.
Bizarre.
It's awful. It is just awful, and it goes beyond.
Sindel has probably the finest line in cinema history.
Too bad you will die. But is that like, who the fuck?
that should be on the poster to that film.
Yeah, just who the fuck? Like, who okayed any of this? But like, how do you go from, like, in fairness, that first movie is pretty good. Like, it's really enjoyable.
Dodgy effects, but
it's pretty good.
Pretty alright.
And the guy who played Shang Tsung
is brilliant.
Amazing. Became definitive to the point he plays Shang Tsung in the new game.
Yeah.
So, how do you go from him being the big villain to the guy that they got to play Shao Kahn?
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he just stepped
What
off
were
the
they
fucking set of a
thinking?
porn movie, didn't he? Even down to the costuming. Like,
I don't know what the fuck. Like, yeah, they made a lot of awful decisions for that movie. Apparently, there was the guy who, the producer of those two movies.
right.
Apparently, he was fighting for the rights to turn Mortal Kombat into a movie franchise for a long time. He was trying to get it, and he was like, "You don't understand. Like, I see this as the next big thing. There's great characters. There's a rich mythology. There's a great lore here. There's gonna be toys of this, movies. We've got TV shows planned." So he was just like so into this idea of turning it into like a mix mash of genres and stuff.
Okay.
And I think there was a TV series actually, but and so eventually he got it. The first one was relatively successful. People liked it, did well enough. People were like, "Yeah, let's do a sequel." And then he just tried to like throw in as many characters as he could, tried to do the shoot as quick as possible, and tried to spend as little money as possible. And it made the guy who played Johnny Cage didn't want to do it. He was like, "I'm not doing this film," which is why they're like, "Right, we need to do something with Johnny Cage. So let's just pay someone who's definitely not him and kill him off immediately." Because the guy who played Johnny Cage does not want to do this film. The guy, Christopher Lambert, did not want to come back for the sequel. That's why it's a different Raiden. The guy who played Sonya did not want to come and do it. So that's why there was such a change of cast and everything. No one wanted to do it, but they were like, "Fuck, we're after green lighting this, so we have to go." So who's available?
That seems weird though. Why wouldn't you want to do a sequel? There must be something else.
No, I think they read the script.
Well, it's not as if the script is
awful.
Well, it's bad, but it's more I think the delivery and overall direction is what is at fault there more so than the actual script. The script is weird, yes, but so was the script of the first one.
Yeah, but the first one had like kind of an arc that you could follow, I felt, right? The second one, Liu Kang goes off looking for some animality.
Finding your animality, man. That's all it's about, bro.
Yeah.
Reach in and find your animality.
And they get inside these spheres that travel through tunnels underneath the planet.
Yeah.
To travel from one side of the world. I don't know. I imagine they read that and went, "This is fucking bonkers." Like this is way more bonkers than the original one.
Yeah. And it literally did have every other character possibly available.
Just threw them in.
Jax is in there, Cyrax is in there, Melina's there. I think Baraka is in there. I think
he is, and he has an awful Halloween mask, and that's Baraka.
That's it.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah.
They have Ermac in there, Rain's in there, Shiva's in there, Motaro's in there, Melina in there, Cyrax is in there, Sector's in there. It's like jam packed with just characters just thrown in there. And if you don't know the game, like basically it's just I know that character from the game, but in the film it's just.
Yeah, sure. Shiva and Motaro in it, and they have like a rivalry thing, which is weird.
But
like
that
weird rivalry
plan that you just said there about wanting to turn this into a big thing, I really feel like that's what this reboot is.
Yeah, but I think they will be kind of careful about it.
This first trailer at least of this film, there's a little bit of holding back a little bit here. They're not gone fully in. Like, with the amount of characters, I'm actually surprised by the amount that they're showing already. But I feel like they're just wanting to sow the seeds a little bit and just see how it goes. But I feel like this is... They're wanting to do a franchise here. A full franchise.
Yeah. Oh, I would imagine so. I imagine that's the hope anyway. And that they're like, let's make a standalone movie that works, but let's sow enough seeds there that we can pick up with a sequel pretty quickly if it does well, and if not, then there it is. It's just
if they can make a MonsterVerse, I'm sure they can make a Combatverse
easily. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Although there was a cool fatality in Kong versus Godzilla.
Was there?
Sure.
I've seen
it was in Godzilla. I mean, 2014.
Yeah.
That's a
2014
that was a pretty good movie.
Shit out of him.
I've seen people actually compare a particular scene in Kong vs. Godzilla, or Godzilla vs. Kong, whatever it's called, to a scene in BVS.
Oh yeah. As I was watching it, I actually said, "Why did you say that name?"
Yeah.
I was like, "This would be hilarious now."
Mothra.
Save
Mothra.
They should have fucking done it. Because it's basically that. That's basically the film. And it basically, yes, the villain is Lex Luthor, who's over making a super monster to fight both of them. You know, it's anyway. Is Mortal Kombat as a franchise, is it the best fighting game franchise? In your opinion?
In our opinion, and not just ever, because that's really debatable.
I think that's totally down to preference, surely.
Some people really love, guys punching rockets up into the air and Tekken,
No, but even like Street Fighter is a big contender there, or Super Smash Bros. Even like there's so many different fighting games. Even people love Injustice, Soul Calibur, Virtua Fighter, Dead or Alive. Like there's a lot of fighting games. Is Mortal Kombat the best of the bunch? In your opinion?
In my opinion, yes, because I think there is a very coherent story, and they're sticking to it and following it. Like I've played 2 or 3 Soul Caliburs, and I'm still kind of like, it still follows that what you were talking about, Chris, with fighting games, where it's like when this person got the Soul Calibur, they jumped off the building, and that's the end of it. And then with this person, I was like, okay, well, What is actually going on? I don't understand this. What is
Yeah.
Soul Calibur? What is Soul Edge? What actually defines who gets what? I don't know much about Street Fighter. I think they're just kind of making games because people are going to buy them. I think it's still just Bison trying to do Bison stuff. I think.
Right. Yeah.
I'm only working off the film in that case. I don't know what the fuck the story of Street Fighter is.
Another great movie.
So good. So for me, Mortal Kombat kind of it sticks with the coherency of the story and hasn't really gone off the rails and hasn't really changed it that much. Or at least if they have, they've kind of still looked to the past to go, well, this is what we said in the past, so this is how we're going to rework and make it work, any of the changes. Yeah, if you take Tekken, it's like Kazuya made a deal with the devil, and now there's actually a devil gene that passes on. So they've kind of completely changed their story, even though they've said early on what it actually is.
Yeah.
So for me, Mortal Kombat's better.
Okay, Adam, what do you think?
I think Mortal Kombat has a lot more pull. Like, I think you can, like, if someone said, "Oh yeah, we're doing a Mortal Kombat this," you go, "Cool," right? There's a lot more. Like, I think the overall setting and lore and characters around Mortal Kombat is one of the finest within the fighting genre. But for me, Tekken's the better game.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I just think as straight up as a fighting game, I just think Tekken has always been a much more enjoyable fighting game.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I kind of feel like in terms of as games play, just from my own experience, like Blood is just a little graphical thing, or magic abilities is a graphical thing, or sparks coming off your fists and KOing people. KO. Ultimately, I think they all play pretty similar. They're up to, and have done for years. And the only thing that's gotten better is graphics and flashiness. Really, like I don't.
Now. That's Street
Fighter
Fighter 5. You can't say that played anything like some of the latest Tekkens or Mortal Kombat's.
That didn't even play as well as Street Fighter 2.
No, it didn't. Like that.
But that's a big exception. That is just a horrendous game. I'm speaking generally. I'm not.
Right.
You never get fucking. It's not like.
But if you were to compare the latest Tekken to the latest Mortal Kombat to the latest Street Fighter to the latest Soul Calibur, it's like after playing the originals as well and seeing how they developed, I mean, there is a clear difference, and I mean that Street Fighter 5 is a good example.
Street Fighter 5, yeah,
as how
atrocious in the short period that I played it.
Yeah.
But for me, the big difference would be the characters and the mythology and the lore. And so in that case, growing up, I was always a huge Tekken fan. I even had in my head a fan fiction version of how a Tekken movie would go, and then they made the Tekken movie, and it was nothing like I envisioned, and I was mad. But but so for me, Mortal Kombat is the best fighting game franchise. Because I think that and Tekken play as well personally, but that Mortal Kombat in general, and I still love Tekken and it's got great characters, but for me, Mortal Kombat has more interesting characters and a much deeper lore and mythology that's just really, really fucking interesting. And if they were going to make a Mortal Kombat movie franchise or a Tekken movie franchise, as much as I'd love to see that fan fiction Tekken movie that I have in my head.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Like, I mean, Mortal Kombat has a lot more pull with it.
Yeah.
If you were to do anything outside of a fighting game, Mortal Kombat is the series to do that with, comparison to everything else. Maybe Smash Brothers. You could do some pretty cool shit with that.
We were playing Ghost of Tsushima, the Legends mode, but we were like, well, I was saying, wouldn't it be fucking cool to make a game that plays quite like Ghost of Tsushima, or something to that element, where you're playing a scorpion. It's not a fighting game. It's just imagine playing a scorpion in an open world, assassinating people and meeting different characters from the Mortal Kombat universe. How fucking cool would that game be? It would be awesome.
It would be brutal.
It would be awesome. Anyway, what do you hope to see from this new movie?
Everything. No, it just looks great. The fatalities look great. CGI looks great. Just looks great.
I'm hoping, because I have a feeling that the fighting's going to be great.
Mm.
I have a feeling that just the story is going to be, are they really going to surprise us? Doubt it. But I just hope that the delivery of lines and the overall acting is very passable to the extent that I don't roll my eyes. Like, I don't want like King of the Monsters level of fucking line delivery in this thing, you know.
Right.
The trailer kind of indicated that this was going to be kind of cheesy, but
Right.
I hope that's not. I hope that it's delivered quite well.
I imagine there's an element of cheesiness to it. I hope though that it's balanced well enough. I hope that this is just a good movie, like a solid good movie to the point where you're like, and you're not even going, this is good for a video game movie. I want it to be a good movie regardless of that fact.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, yeah, I really hope they make a sequel, and then I hope other people learn from this. That's what I kind of hope. I want to come out saying this is the best video game movie adaptation I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do think that the fights and the visuals are going to be fucking cool.
Yeah, I think
no doubt on that.
If the dialogue is cheesy, which like what you said, Adam, it does look a bit cheesy. It's going to get scrutinized.
It's going to get scrutinized?
Scrutinized. No matter even if the visuals or the choreography is great, I think it'll still get scrutinized if the dialogue is not delivered, because there's such kind of negative. There's a negative mindset towards video game movies.
Right.
Well, that's because none of them have been any good.
Yeah, no, so I just feel that they have a sort of kind of like, essentially with this mindset of going, this is probably going to be bad, and oh, look, see, that line was bad, so now the film's kind of bad. I'm not saying everyone will say that. Yeah. I'm sure many people will love the film. I think it'll be good crack. It'll just be good crack.
Probably will be good crack. The thing that has me the most worried about it, actually, is the runtime.
How long is it?
It's 1 hour and 50 minutes.
Ooh.
That's
and
I
would rather it was over that 2 hour mark, even just by a little bit. Just when you see how many characters are in it, I'm like, is this going to be rushed?
But I imagine a lot of those characters are going to be just the rough passing, where it's like they're there, but they're not the focus of the tale, the story.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm even just looking at the main cast. Like, I know this Cole Young character is going to be the main character, and he's a new character, whatever. But I'm hoping Liu Kang is not just some kind of like that he has very little time in the film.
Yeah, I don't think he's a main character at all.
No, I know he's not, but I hope he's not just like in it for 10 minutes or something. Like, I hope he has a decent chunk of the movie.
It doesn't look like it. I think we're going to be focusing on Sonya, the main guy, that new chap,
Jax,
and Scorpion and Sub-Zero's tale. That seems to be what the film looks based on.
Man,
I really do think that this is going to end on a kind of a, like, not necessarily conclusion. Like, I really see this as being a setup. Watch the next one.
Yeah.
Well, I like that they have like statues of Shao Kahn and stuff in the film. So
it looks like
they're thinking of
a larger universe here. Yeah.
Well, they'd be mad not to as well, though. Like, if they just went, let's cut off any possibilities of a sequel. Like, why would there not be statues of Shao Kahn and stuff? You know what I mean? When they are fighting the denizens of Outworld, you kind of have to embrace the fact that this is a larger mythology. If we don't touch on it, we're doing ourselves a disservice here.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, those are our thoughts on Mortal Kombat. Some of our hopes for the new film, our favorite Mortal Kombat games and characters, and just our thoughts on the ones that we have played. We would love people to get in touch and let us know what's their personal favorite Mortal Kombat game, favorite character, and also clear up our confusion. What is the canon? Which games are the official canon of Mortal Kombat? What order does it go in? And maybe give us a ranker list, because we haven't played them all. Someone tell us which are the best and which are the worst Mortal Kombat games. There's people out there who have probably played all of them and are huge MK fans. They'll be able to fill us in. So if you're watching this YouTube, jump down in the comments to let us know which Mortal Kombat games are canon and which ones are the best and the ones most recommended to play. And if you're listening on audio platforms, you can touch base us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take. again to let us know all your favorite Mortal Kombat games. If you've enjoyed us on YouTube as well, by the way, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell so you know about our future content. And we'll probably end up doing either a bonus or an episode, depending on how it turns out, on the MK movie when we get to watch it. So we will be sharing our thoughts. So do make sure you click that notification bell or follow us if you're listeners on audio platforms so that you know when we put out that, whether it's a bonus or an episode or whatever it is. Thank you very much for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.